You ever feel like you're just spinning your wheels? You're busy, you're working hard, but you're not really getting closer to the life you want? Well, what if I told you the secret to completely transforming your life was hiding in the first hour of your day? That's the huge promise of The Miracle Morning, a book built on one powerful idea. How you start your day, well, that determines everything else. But before we get to the solution, let's just get real for a second. Ask yourself this and be honest. Are you really, truly firing on all cylinders? Are you living up to your full potential? Or, like so many of us, are you just kind of getting by, settling? Okay, get ready for this because it's a bit of a shocker. The author, Hal Elrod, found this statistic that says, after a full 40-year career, a staggering 95% of people are still struggling. Only 5% get to experience true freedom. And look, the book is super clear on this. This isn't just about your bank account. No way. This is a wake-up call for, well, for everything. So the big question is, right? How do we flip the script and get into that top 5%? That's exactly what we're going to break down right here. We'll start by digging into that 95% reality. Then we'll get into the incredible story behind this whole thing. We'll cover the core idea of owning your morning, the 6 habits that are a total game changer, a strategy to finally beat that snooze button, and we'll wrap it all up with how to create your level 10 life. Stick around for that one. All right, section 1. Let's dive a little deeper into this whole 95% thing. The author doesn't pull any punches. He calls mediocrity an epidemic. And you can see it everywhere once you start looking. And wow, this really lays it all out, doesn't it? Physically, so many of us are just drained, living on coffee and fumes. Mentally and emotionally, the numbers for anxiety and depression are through the roof. Relationally, things are tough. And financially, a lot of people are just buried in debt. But here's the kicker, the really important part. The book argues this isn't just bad luck. It's what happens when we don't have an intentional plan to grow. So you might be wondering, where did this powerful routine even come from? Well, it wasn't some theory cooked up in a lab. The story behind it is incredible. It was literally born from moments of absolute, total desperation. Just look at this. These are the 2 moments that almost broke the author, Hal Elrod. First, at just 20 years old, he's hit head-on by a drunk driver. He was clinically dead for 6 minutes. Doctors told him he'd probably never walk again. Then, as if that wasn't enough, years later, boom, the 2007 economy crashes, and he loses everything. He's deep in debt and sinks into a serious depression. He was at absolute rock bottom. Twice. And it's right there in that quote that you see the shift. It was in that darkness that he had this huge realization. Okay, I can't control the car crash. I can't control the economy, but I can control how I respond to it. That's everything. It's about taking responsibility. And that's what drove him to build, piece by piece, a system to reclaim his life. And he called it The Miracle Morning. Okay, so this brings us to the core concept of the entire book. It's this super powerful but really simple idea about the connection between your morning and, well, your whole life. And the book has this perfect way of explaining it. Think of your first hour as the rudder on a giant ship. If that rudder is just flopping around, if you're reactive and distracted, you know where that ship's going to end up. But if you grab hold of it and set a clear, focused direction, the rest of the day just follows that course. It's a simple phrase, but it is so true. Win the morning, win the day. And yeah, I know, this sounds like a huge promise, right? Transform every area of your life. But just think about it for a second. If every single day you start by improving yourself on the inside, your mindset, your focus, your energy, how could your outside world not start to change for the better? It has to. It's almost like a natural law. Okay, so you're probably thinking, great, I'm on board, but what do I actually do in that first hour? This is where we get to the really good stuff, the actual practical toolkit. It's an acronym, and it's called the Life Savers. So what Hal did was pretty brilliant. He studied all these super successful people and basically cherry-picked their best habits. He boiled it all down into these 6 practices. First, S is for silence, meditation, prayer, just quiet, calming the chaos. A is for affirmations. Basically, you're telling your brain what to focus on. V is for visualization. You're playing the movie of your success in your head before it happens. E is for exercise, and it doesn't have to be a marathon. Just get the blood flowing. R is for reading, even just a few pages from a good book. And finally, S is for scribing, a fancy word for journaling, getting your thoughts out on paper. All right, I know what a lot of you are thinking right now. I can practically hear it. This sounds great, but I'm just not a morning person. I love my snooze button. Guess what? Hal wasn't either, and he knew that would be the biggest roadblock for most people, so he created a foolproof 5-step plan to beat the snooze button for good.
The trick is to put it on autopilot, so you don't even have to use willpower. It starts the night before by setting an intention for the next morning. Step 2, move that alarm clock across the room so you have to get up. Then immediately go brush your teeth. It's a simple action that signals to your brain, we're up now. 4, chug a big glass of water. Your body's dehydrated and this wakes you up. And 5, get dressed in your workout clothes. By then, you're awake, you're ready, and hitting snooze is the last thing on your mind.
All right, we've got the what and we've got the how, but the million-dollar question is, does this stuff actually work? Let's talk about the results. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. I mean, for starters, you've got heavy hitters like Robert Kiyosaki, the rich dad, poor dad guy. He calls it pumping rocket fuel into my body, mind, and spirit. Wow, that's a pretty strong endorsement. And it's not just him. So many top performers have jumped on board and swear by this routine. But okay, forget the famous people for a second. This is what's really amazing. Look at these results from regular people, just like you and me. People using this to lose weight, double their income, save their business, even overcome depression. We're not talking about small tweaks here. These are complete, life-altering transformations. And it all started with that one decision to own their morning. So what's the end game here? It's all about closing the gap between the life you're living now and the one you know you're capable of. The idea is that by working on yourself first, every single day, you become that level 10 person, the kind of person who naturally creates a level 10 life in their health, their work, their relationships, the whole shebang. So I want to leave you with this one question to really think about. Forget about all the times you've tried and failed before. Forget the I'm not a morning person story you've been telling yourself. Just imagine for a second, who could you become? What could your life look like a year from now if you just made this one small change? If you decided to start your day every day with purpose? Honestly, we've barely even scratched the surface here. The book goes way deeper on how to tailor all this to your own life and really lock in the mindset. If anything we've talked about today has sparked something in you, if you're feeling ready to make a real change, do yourself a favor. Grab the book. The link is right down there in the description below. And hey, if you liked this breakdown, make sure you subscribe because we've got a lot more coming to help you unlock your potential. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Now go win your morning.